or judges or the judiciary. Mr. Diaz-Balart.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairwoman. I want to just first emphasize, as you said before, that there is no light between us, that you and I are, and I would think that the committee, and clearly your subcommittee, is totally united on these issues, and I want to thank you for your leadership there. Two questions to Ms. Walsh, if I may. GSA owns and constructs a number of border stations, and I'm trying to find out if GSA is exercising its independent judgment and expertise, and I'm going to throw out one specific issue, for example. Does it make sense to have an 8-lane border station? Is that appropriate, 8 lanes, for a crossing that sees less than 40 cars per day? If you had a crossing, if you were looking at it, and you had a crossing that had less than 40 cars a day, would your standard be 8 lanes?
We work with DHS to determine the requirements for each land port of entry.
I know, but I'm asking, is 8 lanes for 40 cars? I mean, under any standards, that sounds like, you know, government out of control. 8 lanes, does it make sense? Is that the kind of standard that you usually use for the ones that you own and run and construct? 8 lanes for less than 40 cars for a station that handles less than 40 cars a day? Does that make any sense to you? Or is that, speaking of overbuilding, is that not classic overbuilding?
I'm not sure which project you're referring to, and I would have to defer to the requirements that we work out with our customer agency. Well,
my understanding is that there's a border crossing in Vermont that has, again, less than 40 crossings per day, and that it's foreseen to be built as an 8-lane border station. And again, you know, since we're talking about, among the things we're talking about is overbuilding and wasting money in overbuilding, it seems to me that I don't know how you justify 8 lanes with less than 40 cars a day. Now, what I'm trying to find out is if you have other border stations already that you run, is if you have a border station that has 6 lanes and it has less than 40 cars, do you suggest that it go to 8 lanes, or is that excessive?
We do build also to accommodate future requirements, but in terms of the specific border stations, I would have to go back and check and get the committee the information on the number of lanes and whatnot at the various border stations.
All right, and the other part of my question, though, is that if there's something that is in the you know, in planned by the stimulus, do you have the ability to exercise your judgment as to what makes sense? Is it 8 lanes? Is it 6 lanes? Or do you just go forward? Do you just have to go forward with it and build it regardless of what the need may actually be?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your last part of your question.
Or do you just go forward with it because that's what's in the bill, regardless of what the actual need may be?
I think we discuss the requirements at length with our customer to make sure that they make sense. We would be happy to set up a meeting with you to discuss this issue further if you'd like.
I'd like to find out if, because again, what we're trying to do is avoid, obviously, you know, unnecessary expenditure.
Absolutely.
On the same vein,